Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2022, at least here on the East Coast of the United States of America. So I'm wishing you a good one and doing some painting tonight just to get a little bit of painting in to start off the new year. I'm working on a painting of Phil Diaz's character, The Masquerade. And we were talking via private messages on Twitter, and he was concerned that I did not know what his character's sword looks like. What's up, Leg Kick One? How you doing? I hope you're having a good evening. And I was laughing because I know the character pretty well, and yeah, I planned on giving this character a little bit more in the ways of a figure, and so I'm working on putting in this rapier that the character holds that has a theater mask on the front of it, and it's kind of it's interesting. It's kind of got this great kind of Two-Face quality to it, which is to say, like the Batman character Two-Face, where you've got, the character working. You're still in the past on the West Coast. All right, listen, let me tell you something right now, okay? And I have it on good authority from the Australians who are in the future from me. But I can tell you on my own authority that 2022 is going to be just fine. I'm a couple of minutes into it, and the world's still turning, so don't you worry. West Coasters, we've got your back. So, but yeah, so I started working on this sword, and I've done a couple of sketches of this character, and kind of coming up with the plan for how I was going to approach it. And so this is kind of just the execution of that plan, and kind of getting reference of people holding fencing swords and that kind of thing, and then just sort of letting the paint flow when I'm doing this in acrylic. And acrylic is a pretty forgiving and relaxing media to paint in, assuming that you don't, just spackle the paint on, which then gives you all kinds of texture and things like that you have to deal with. So that's one of the things about it that I'm enjoying right now, is just kind of, this is what I do to relax when I've been working all day on Nosfero, which is, the comic book that's on Indiegogo right now. I may need to move my mic a little bit here. So let me see if that helps me just a bit. I'm both moving it closer and out of the way of where my water container is, so I'm not banging into it every 5 minutes. And we'll see if that doesn't help us a little bit. But you can kind of see already let me see what's casting. Oh, wait, did I just put myself in a situation where, what is casting that shadow? Is it my arm? It might be that. Yeah, actually, that's what I do. I absolutely am lining it on like I'm inking a little bit with a smaller brush. Because when you get something like this, like the sword that this character has and that this character wields is a little bit more. I'm checking. I have another sketch I did of the character over there that I was looking at, just in case you're wondering where I'm looking. But yeah, this character has got such a ornate costume that it makes sense to kind of, put in those outlines, or I should say, put in those detail lines with a thinner brush. And what's great about heavy body acrylics is that they almost can go on like ink, but it's weird. It's like a mixture of inks and a wash of ink, because it does start to break up if I add enough water to it. So yeah, I do. I love that. I love to do it that way, because it just sort of gives me a sense. You can kind of see that right there with the hand, that by the time I get into details like this, I'll get a little bit more opaque. But with something, where I'm just kind of roughing it in to make sure I've got the hand in the right position. And, I've been studying various, see if I've got that eye where I need it to be. I've been studying various photo reference of people who are fencing. And then I was also just watching one of my favorite movies which is a movie called Dangerous Liaison, starring John Malkovich, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Glenn Close. I haven't seen it in ages, but there's a really it's got a really great theatrical and dramatic, quality to it. Yeah, yeah, this is The Masquerade. Yeah, I got to be painting The Masquerade, right? Phil was just telling me that I think he was just telling me the other day that he got the let me see if I can make that work there. That he got the second printing of the book back, or the proof of the second printing of book 1 back, which I ordered and I'm looking forward to getting. And then I just ordered Rob Arnold's the first 3 volumes of The Replicator, which is I think still available now, that he just got the proofs from. It looks beautiful. And I thought I had ordered that already, but I guess I didn't. So it's funny, keeping track of all of the Comicsgate projects that I've backed on Indiegogo has been, I'm having those senior moments, I think, where I think I backed something and then I go and look and I go, oh, wait, I got to back that still. So yeah, I've forgotten all the things that I've backed on some levels. And then there's things I remember backing that I didn't yet. So it was good to get that sorted out so I can make sure I get that book. Let's see here. Phil and Brandon, how are you? No, this is just for fun. This is just for relaxation. Although we are talking about doing some stuff in the new year, but we'll see how it goes. Just doing some stuff. Is this a splash panel or a cover? It's just for fun right now. It's just for practice. I needed to come up with something that I could do on stream that was relaxing, so I didn't always have to paint, on my actual pages, which, I will be doing that as well. And this sort of came up, like I could do paintings of Comicsgate characters and, sort of see what I can come up with. And then I don't have to have the pressure of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I mean, I can always use these things at some point, if I do, because I do books of my artwork and I've got all kinds of different characters in there and things like that. So if I ever do a collection of my paintings, if I ever do an acrylic book of my paintings, which is weird, I haven't done one of those yet. Who knows? Maybe I could use it for something. But it's just, all this stuff is just for fun so that I can get the word out about more creator stuff. Yeah. I mean, this is what I do to relax. It's a very weird thing when your trade and your profession are also what you do to relax. And so it's strange. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but when I take a break from working on my book in gouache, I have to, well, actually, that's not completely true. I do paint or I practice the violin because I've been learning the violin for the last year. And so I just try to pick up songs. And then I have my classes with my teacher because I wanted to become, I wanted to become more skilled and learn something new, and also work on developing. My left arm is a little bit damaged from an injury. It's a little bit warped. So it gives it some good practice, to build that thing up and make it so that the arthritis is a little bit better. So yeah, one of those things. What's up, Devil Flyer? How you doing? Good to see you. And Happy New Year if you're in the new year. That's awesome, man. So yeah, I'm always working on things to build up my skills, and try to do things that are, fun to watch too. And I'm one of those kids who, grew up on Bob Ross, and I've always said to myself, I should do something like that. And now with YouTube, you can actually paint in front of people, and people maybe learn something from it. Who knows? So we'll see how it goes. And I just realized something. Am I getting a glare from that light now? Yeah, I am a little bit. Let's see if I can adjust that. There we go. It's a little bit better. I've been listening to Jim Shooter interviews. Very nice. Yeah, Jim Shooter interviews. Very insightful. You see how he directed Marvel and all of his own companies. Yep, I remember all the different companies after post-Marvel too. Also his stories of the creators he worked with. It's very interesting. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day too. I was thinking about Jim Shooter. Sometimes I think about Jim Shooter in relationship to Phil Diaz, funny enough. So it's funny you bring up Jim Shooter, because I was just thinking about how, I mean, I haven't met Jim Shooter, so I can't really speak to that. But I was thinking about how prolific Phil is and how many creators and things that he works with, and also how tall Phil is. So that was kind of another big part of that. So who knows? Phil may be the next Jim Shooter, and that's great, because we absolutely need writers, but we also need people who are, growing things quickly, growing, the amount of books we're putting out, and then also have a fantastic track record of getting those books out. and making sure things see print. So that's always cool. So let me see here if I can get, where's my reference? I just keep looking around. Oh, I should, being an idiot here. So the character is holding the sword at a different angle, and I've been turning my head to look at it. Hey, what's up, the green laser? I've been turning my head to look at it. I just went, what if I just turn the drawing? I swear to God, guys, it is one of those things. That's my first blasphemy of the year, I guess. Ugh. Well, I got to work on myself, but it's, but yeah, I mean, I sort of sit back and look at, I look at the work that people are doing, and I think about, I just moved that light and made it harder for me to see my work. So, got to make sure I know and remember why I'm here. But yeah, so, I've always kind of thought that, if I'm going to use my skills, during my off time, my recreation, outside of doing, something, I mean, I've occasionally used it obviously to do things like, um, as presents for people if a loved one passes or something like that, and that's something they'd like. I'm happy to take care of that, for the people I know. But it's crazy, it's I love to use it to get the word out as much as I can for different books and different creators, and so it sort of struck me as a way to do it. Oh, nice. You met Jim Shooter in 2019. I think it would be cool if someone from CG reached out to him. I think he would be open. Yeah, I mean, he may very well be. Comicsgate, and I think particularly in 2022 is going to be the place where everything is happening, or at least the indie scene is. If you can't, if I couldn't claim to say that, it's going to be CG, it's definitely going to be the indie scene. Let me see where the hell is my, oh, there it is. So just a little thing about what I do. I actually don't mix certain secondary colors. I believe you should have tubes of them. It saves on time, but you also get purer colors. So I don't use, and I see the results when I do, I don't use red and yellow to mix orange. I actually have a tube of orange paint. And I think it's important to have both, red, yellow, and blue, and then also have purple, green, and orange tubes. So I have a cad orange that I use for certain things, which I'm going to use now. And let's see here. And all of this stuff that I'm doing with the sword is going to be hit with a gold wash at some point. So it really is just the roughing in phase. So you can sort of see how that contrast sort of comes on the scene. There we go. There we are. And let's see what else we want to do here. I'm taking a little bit, I do a little bit of different things with every character that I work on. I think the piece I did for Ethan for Cyberfrog was probably the one I was attempting to be the most accurate at, although Ethan can speak to whether I was or not. But it's I always will play around with the characters a little bit, particularly in paint. So I do certain things that like with this mask, that are subtle shifts on these things. So we'll see how it goes. It's interesting. It's not so that I can keep orange consistent, although that is a good idea. Oh gosh, I just put this. It's hilarious. I just put it like directly in front of where you guys were. It's more so that because orange will mix. It's a purer color, so every time I mix colors into one another, they lose something. So if I mix orange with a pure tube of blue, I get a more vibrant, muddy color. So in a lot of ways, it just allows me to vary my effects a little bit more. And so that's the thing that I kind of like about it is a lot of people will use, different tubes of paint, burnt sienna, burnt umber, yellow ochre, all those different things, which is great. You can totally do that. With me, if I'm not doing a limited palette, like say a Zorn palette or something like that, as Gabe and I were talking about on one of the Double Impact streams, what I will do is I will take two complementary colors and kind of limit it that way. So when I get up to using more colors, it's typically something like 6 or so colors. So it's I don't, plus black and white, so it would be the complements, and then black and white. But yeah, I mean, it saves time, it's like it saves time, and it does something that just the red, yellow, or if I mix red and yellow 1,000 times, I'm never going to get as bright of an orange as the cad orange, because that's just made from the manufacturer with that kind of vividness, if that makes sense. Let's see here. All right, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of it for me. It's just kind of it's just really about making the work as expeditiously as I can, but then also making the work just sort of sing off the page. And when I look at the golden age illustrators, the people that I admire, like NC Wyeth or people like Howard Pyle and JC Leyendecker and all of them, even Norman Rockwell, they all have different strategies for doing their work. But I think that the goal at the end of the day was always to get it out as quickly as possible. But um, if they were going to spend time on something, to make sure the time was spent making it greater as opposed to with the minutia of process. Which in Maxfield Parrish's case was pretty much the same thing, but it really depends on the artist. Let me see what I've got here. Yes, I did. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I watched the first episode with my family. My kids are huge Cobra Kai fans, so we kind of like tend to space things out. We're watching Cobra Kai, and then we're also watching one of their other favorite shows, Lost in Space. But I think Cobra Kai edges out Lost in Space by a good deal. They really, really love Cobra Kai, and the first episode looks great. Terry is looking good. Terry Silver looks like he's in. He looks like what I had hoped Val Kilmer would look like at this age. It's poor Val. It's been rough to watch, but yeah, it looks good. I mean, I love the show. I love it's just great writing. You can't. I mean, my wife was asking me if I thought it was going to go woke or something like that, and I said, no, I don't think it is. I think they've made their whole business strategy on, and their whole audience based on the fact that it's avoiding all of that nonsense. So we'll see, but it looks great so far. Really liking how they're building all the characters up. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, geez, yeah, sad about Val. Yeah, it's really good. It is really good. I will tell you this. Let's see. Have I watched season 4? It's on Netflix. Don't worry, no spoilers. Yeah, I absolutely won't. I won't spoil it, but I will tell you this: almost everything I'm watching, and I was watching Clownfish TV talk about this the other day, and love that channel. I mean, they do some really cool stuff on that channel. But they were talking about Disney Plus and the various crises they're in, and I have to tell you guys, of the shows that we're excited about and that we're fans of in my household, almost all of them are on Netflix right now. So you've got The Witcher, you've got I think Outlander's on that channel. Let's see what else is on that channel. Cobra Kai. Let's see. Lost in Space. Like, I could just go down a list, but our viewing habits are pretty much, on Netflix. Doesn't mean we love everything on Netflix by any stretch. I mean, there's a lot of junk on there too. But for high fantasy right now and science fiction, Netflix is doing great. And yeah, I'm interested in seeing the Book of Boba Fett and all that stuff as an old school Star Wars fan, but I kind of canceled Disney Plus. So I'm not going to be watching that. But it's like I'm sure I will watch it at some point, but not at the moment. Let's see here. So I've got this face here. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to drop a dark in there right there, so it kind of just makes it kind of stand out a little bit more. There we go. And yeah, I mean, it's been really great to have a lot of different stuff to paint to and to kind of chill out to. Been listening to some audiobooks. The guys over at Echo Base Network, which is another channel that I frequent, I found they've got the Witcher audiobooks that are available for people to listen to, which I really have been enjoying those books. And then those guys always crack me up with their takes on what's going on in pop culture. So it's kind of cool to see. So we'll see how it all shakes out. You never know. But yeah, Cobra Kai I'm looking forward to. Let me see here. The success of Cobra Kai and the new Spider-Man movie looks to be the shows to nudge the entertainment out of the social justice quagmire. Yeah, I think that's done. I mean, I don't think it's done, but I think it's dead and it just doesn't know it yet. Honestly, you're just seeing a lot of the problem with with bad business decisions and bad business, approaches is sooner or later, people will give you a certain amount of time to prove that your ideas, no matter how out there they are, you always pitch those ideas with, this is going to grow our audience. This is going to make us more successful. And the problem with doing that with major corporations is sooner or later they come to collect, they come to judge. Well, did you grow my money? The investors, I don't care what it is. Oh, yeah, absolutely. YouTube's got tons of great books. And I think everybody is kind of calling in all of the venture capital, all of the investment that's been made in this. Everybody's calling in their favor and their money and saying, all right, you said this was going to make us more money. Now let's see the more money. And they're not seeing it. And that's why you're seeing all this sort of desperation going on right now. So I think it's just a matter of time. I think that the business model that people have been pitching, I don't care how much investment money that people think it gives you access to, it's never going to compete with long-term financials you would have gotten from making great product. It just won't. Loss leaders aren't going to get you there. So, yeah, I think it's done and dusted at this point. There we go. Let me see if I can adjust this. I don't want the light on there, but there we go. So you can kind of see where this is going. But yeah, it's a huge time of change. I think there's a whole generation of parents and a younger generation of kids who are just, at this point, the hypocrisy is just reaching critical mass and they're just done with it. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll sort out. I mean, I think it is. And I think a lot of us are putting our money where and our livelihoods where our mouth is and, trying to make great entertainment that you guys will enjoy. Fun stuff. You can spend, if you give people an opportunity to spend their money elsewhere, they will, especially if it's on, collector's items and things like that, limited edition stuff. People are people who are comic collectors are made for this stuff. I mean, low print runs and hand signed, hand shipped books will beat, a holofoil cover by itself from a giant corporation any day of the week. Especially when you can get those kinds of things from people like Ethan and people like Zach and, people making, and John Malin, people making cool stuff. So you don't even have to go there for that kind of stuff anyway. There we go. And I Nosfero's story has gotten so good in the last, I knew it was going to be good, but every day when I'm working on those pages, I will get something that will deepen the story. And I can't tell you, unfortunately, I can't talk about too much of the story yet. I'm going to try to hold off. But that book, that story is really cool. I'm so proud of it. So excited to see where it takes us, and where it's going to take you guys, I should say. And yeah, so it's been cool. I saw on Twitter the person who changed Vixen into dating a handicapped girl is handicapped herself to defend her nonsense. The woke post pictures of the creators of a classic characters. Yeah, it's with all that stuff. These are the last sort of gasps of it all. I feel really sad on some levels for people who've been caught up on this, because once these people don't have any use for them, once these financial interests or they're being used to force out older, more skilled people who cost a lot of money and make the corporations that are running these things feel insecure. Like, you're not going to tell me what Batman is or isn't. It's almost like a toddler saying, you can't tell me not to punch myself in the face. And unfortunately, those are not people who make sound business decisions. So I think those people are going to start getting phased out. And then once they're phased out, obviously they're little underlings who don't know shit. People are going to be like, why is this person still here? Show me how you've made money for the company. And they're going to say, well, I did, I brought this to the package. And they're going to say, our investors don't care about that. It's just the how do I word this? Once whenever there's a business grift, the little guys all run to try to get on it. But like all giant bureaucratic business grifts, at the end of the day, it's only going to leave the big people at the table. and how they look like them in terms of ethnicity, not seeing that they created the characters and one who changed and didn't create anyone. Well, yeah, I think that's definitely true. But I would also add, I don't think Jack Kirby and Stan Lee look like Black Panther. I mean, last time I checked, maybe the photos I've seen, had been adjusted. I certainly don't think either one of them look like, Sue Storm. I don't think either one of, or Sue Richards. I don't think either one of them look like, most of their characters, Peter Parker, I'm sorry, like, no offense, I know that Steve Ditko, the case could be made, but not that much of a case. Let's see. My question is, how can they raise the talent level of the entertainers, writers, and artists after they alienated them and bring back the fans? Well, they you can do almost anything, but I don't know if they can. Falcon, yeah, Falcon comes to mind. Green Laser, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's such a dumb, like, how do I word this? A lot of artists, you can see a little bit of their look in their characters, but I don't know. Don't see myself in Nosferatu, and I don't know if I see Ethan in Cyberfrog. Could be wrong. Obviously, John Malin is built exactly like the lead character in Godlike, so we can't criticize that. But last I checked, Shane ain't no pussy. Thank you, everyone. I'll be here all week. Tip your waiters on the way out. So I just, I look at this kind of stuff and I go, how do we, when we're making this work, and how do we, when we're making these characters, like, what kind of narcissistic weirdo? Like, my wife and I were talking about this earlier today. I go, I don't want characters that look like me. I just don't. Like, I'm not interested in that. That would be a weird thing. Like, I just don't. Imagine if you open up my sketchbook and it's like, these are all my ideas, and it's just a series of self-portraits. That's a level of narcissism and insanity that I think you need to seriously, at that point, you need to check up from the neck up. That's what that is. And I just go, how the hell? Like, I would feel incredibly weird if I were saying, here's all my characters. Like, what was it? The I'm Not Starfire writer. When I saw that thing, I was like, please tell me that's not real, that's actually what the writer looks like. That's a weird phenomenon. The self-insert, my daughter was actually asking me about fan fiction the other day. And actually, I think it was today, but it was the other day because it was yesterday, technically. But and I was sort of explaining to her things like, it's a weird thing to explain to your kids. I was like going, well, like the whole 50 Shades of Grey thing, which they all know about in spite of our best efforts. That's just fan fiction for Twilight. And I basically explained it to her. I was like, some creepy middle-aged fans writing, perverse fiction about, teenagers. It's a little weird to me. No knocking if that's your drug of choice, but again, it's a little weird, and I just don't get it. I don't get the whole thing. Let's see here. Or Mole Man. I don't know. I think some of us are. I feel like I'm increasingly looking like Mole Man. Yeah. Thank you for your point of view, Sean. There you go. Stan, Jack, and Steve, and many other creators, thousands of characters, and they were all different ethnicities. You're right. Not only that, but according to that if you are white, you're not supposed to. Yeah, exactly. Except for when they appropriate, characters created by these people. It's a very strange sort of world. But again, like I said, it all comes from a very particular thing. Thank you for your point of view, Sean. I don't know that I have a point of view these days. I wonder sometimes, but I appreciate the kind words. It's a very, like, sometimes I say, like whenever I'm talking about things, I'm thinking out loud, and trying to process this stuff and figure out what it is. But I really do think that, how do I word it? One of the weirdest phenomenons that happens in the art world, and it's tied into the book I was showing the other night. They actually talk about it in there. Work being autobiographical, work being about the artist. And one thing I would say to anybody who is trying to improve at their artwork and seeking critiques, the most important thing that people have to understand is you are not your artwork. You aren't. Your artwork can be incredibly important to you. It can be it's your skills. It's about what you can do. It's not about who you are personally. So, for example, your artwork doesn't get hungry. Your artwork doesn't have to go to sleep, although I don't have to go to sleep that often. Your artwork can't form friendships. Your artwork can't do any of that stuff. Hey, what's up, OC Steve? Good to see you, brother, and Happy New Year. I know it's a little early there for New Year, but I have faith. I think and I can tell you 2022 is great. But I don't understand why people, I think it's actually because people confuse their artwork with themselves, because there's this kind of, narcissism in fine art culture where it's all about the artist, it's all about biography, it's all about their origin, that more and more of what you're seeing on social media is just a reflection of the performance art attitude that we have right now. And so to make comic book characters and stories have to include you is a little bit of legacy of that, so to speak. It's a legacy of, I'm painting off frame here. Hang on a second. Let me move that down a little bit. And I'll move my desk in just a little bit so I can slide that up. But it's a very strange thing, and I think people are just tired of it. People are just, it's really a strange. I don't think that we've dealt with yet how completely strange the idea that people are who we trust with, creating artwork that deals with and addresses the human condition, are only writing about themselves, because no individual represents the human condition. They participate in it, but we're usually trying to do something that speaks to a little more than our own experience. But that's not what they believe. They believe that everything has to be biographical, and so everything has to be, they say things like write what you know, and I always say show what you've learned, show your wisdom, and it's basically all we do, and all we put out there as artists or creators is a collection of our skills. It's not a collection of our opinions or our biography. And if that's all it is, then what's the point? Everybody's opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, as they say. Let's see here. I am reading a great book on Joe Simon. Yep. Very nice. My Life in Comics. I highly recommend it. Very interesting life he led. And he talks a lot about Jack Kirby. Very cool. Yeah. Mental derangement and enabling it. That is today's society. Yeah. I think it's just, it's an accelerant, but it's kind of cool in some ways, because it really kind of lets, people are letting their wacko flags fly, and that's awesome. It's good to know where they all are located, and I do find it a little terrifying that people are doing such a good job of making sure that they're fully documenting, their attempts to destroy other people's lives. I just think that can't be something that people are going to look back on and go, oh, wow, so from 2000 and something to 2000 and something, you tried to destroy someone's life. So tell me about that, and, why we should hire you to come into our community. Don't know if that's going to, I don't know if that's going to reflect very well on anybody, but, people do what they got to do. And, I would rather be painting and learning how to play the violin and working on my CG book. And, throughout the process of making the CG book, I know I'm going to make enough artwork for another art book. And then there's going to be, if this book funds as well as I think it's on track to funding, then there'll be our next project will be an edition of the book that's just, the raw art. But the book has to do a certain amount of numbers before my wife and I'll feel comfortable, doing something like that. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. There we go. So right now I'm kind of putting in that sad sort of mask. Let me see. It's from the closure. Yeah, the mental asylums, I think, shop. Yeah, it probably is. Everybody's loose and out on the streets. There you go. Yeah, who knows? It's definitely a strange time, but it's like 2022. 2022 is kind of a big year for me in terms of, it's not a big year. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a turning point year for me, because this is going to be the first year in 18 years that I'm not teaching at a college. And the thing that's sort of wild about that is even though I resigned from teaching college in this past summer, it was, so technically I'm in an academic year. I'm not teaching. It just sort of dawned on me that 2022 is just my all art year. So, it's it's kind of amazing. Like it's a real turning point, and I'm looking forward to just my first year of being completely, you know, completely free to do this stuff. And the other cool thing about that is that I got a head start, by getting the book to almost, we're shy about 1,800 and something of getting to 400% of our goal. And I really want that book to just keep going, keep trucking. And so, but the fact that we got to five figures in the last couple months of 2021 does make things a little bit, um, puts us in a different position heading straight into 2022. So we're just going to keep working and showing people more. And I think the more people see the book and see the artwork from it, the more we're going to get even more people to want to back it, because it really is going some cool places. Like, so much of what I've done artwork wise has been set up. It hasn't been stuff that was what's the word I'm looking for? It hasn't been stuff that is, deep into the story, deep into the lore of what you're going to see. I mean, there's going to be some really cool visuals that people haven't even seen yet, and then there's going to be some more story points and things. And then plus, I actually just last night I changed the name of one of my characters. It's not Nosfera, don't worry. It's not that big of a deal. But I just was looking over everything, and as I was writing, and I've been putting temporary word balloons with text in them, into some of the pages that I have right now, because I know what the characters are going to say. Oh yeah, isn't this cool? This is one of the best ideas of this character. Well, and here's the thing too, right? So you guys know, because it's talked about all the time, but it's more than talked about enough. But I do intros for Ethan, and that is a lot of fun. Sometimes he uses them, sometimes he doesn't. But I do intros for him. And the thing that was kind of cool about that is that that's a fun way for me to kind of do things for CG and promote CG books and ideas and things that are happening. And this is another way. And so when I see someone create a character that I think is cool and that I can mess around with and come up with something cool, then I'm going to do it. So that's why I was doing that, that real basic profile picture of Shane's character from Inglorious Rex. I'm doing my own lettering, but I'm not hand lettering it. But I'm using a font. I wanted to look around and find a comic book font that I could kind of deal with. And one of the ones I like is a font by Blambot that is what's it called? I think it's called 10 Cent Comics. And it's got a little bit more of an old school hand lettering look to it that you would find in the 1970s comics and things like that. So I think I want to use that because it's got its own look to it. And then, of course, the word balloons I'm having some fun with too. But yeah, I'm totally doing my own lettering because I think in terms of the lettering as I'm drawing, so I kind of know where I want things to be. And then sometimes, the text and things will jump and shift a little bit just because the art will show me something I wasn't thinking about, having be a big factor in it. So yeah, I love lettering. I actually hand lettered the first two comics I ever self-published in the early 2000s. So yeah, those were my very Todd McFarlane inspired books that I did. So I want to talk about like the idea of trying to self-publish comics, writing, penciling, inking, lettering, and all that stuff back then. And I was not half the writer I am now, and not half the artist I am now. But during this time when the comic book industry was dying, I look back on it and just shake my head. Have you seen Lettering the DC Comics Way? It's an older book and has some great information. I don't doubt it. That's awesome. Yeah, I should check that out. I do like it. I do like reading books on that. I've actually got how to ink comic books. I think it was by Dark Horse, and they had Steve Rude pencils in it. It's a really great book. Kevin Nolan, Dave Stevens, all these amazing artists did their inks on it, on Steve Rude's work, and it's just beautiful. It's all Nexus characters pages, and it was just really cool. There we go. Now we'll try to put a little bit of highlight on there, just to kind of make it have its look. So yeah, I mean, Phil came up with this really cool idea for it. And the thing I like is that the character's got kind of a mask that's a little bit of a, a happy sort of theater mask face. And then the hilt of the sword, if you can take a look at it, let me see if I can shift this so it doesn't, oh God, that's so bright. That may be the best we can do there. But the hilt of the sword has actually, if I lay it flat, it might do better. Hang on a second here. And that blocks me. So 45-degree angle. Sometimes that works. That's it's kind of washed out, but you get the idea. Hey, what's up, Aldous? Happy New Year, brother. I know you're on my coast, so I know you're feeling the New Year spirit. But it's but of course, once I do that, it may look good on the screen, but I can't see it. So back we go. But it's one of those things to where Phil came up with this really cool idea of having, the sort of sad theater mask on the sword, kind of like, I'm not happy, so you're going to get the sword. And then the happy face on the mask, the kind of creepy happy face. So that's kind of one of those ideas that I really, get and gravitate towards when I'm painting stuff. Basically, if I see a cool character in Comicsgate and I think I have a good idea for it, then I'll paint it, as a way of promoting things and, doing painting streams. So yeah, what's up, all? It's good to see you. Let's see. Everyone mentions Todd. I live near his brother-in-law. Oh, no kidding. Wanda's wife, brother. God, what am I talking about? He and Todd owned a comic book shop. Yep, I remember the Spider's Web. I used to read about that all the time. Todd was the first comic artist I've met. Yeah, Todd was the most important comic book artist I met. Just a brilliant, brilliant guy. Oh, just stopping by during a smoke break to hit the like and catch a bit of the talk. I'll be hitting the replay on the low on a low volume tomorrow. Taking it easy. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Yeah, and I will be around. I'm sure I will be around for CG Talk. Yeah, on Saturday. Sounds like an absolute plan. I got those links, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Very, very cool. Yeah, I love CG Talk, and I love I love us just talking about this stuff and doing our thing, man. I mean, we've been doing it for a number of years now, and I think that it's starting to really kind of take hold, and it's starting to mature and morph itself into something. There's some of the immaturity that I love as well, that I hope we can hold on to as we go forward. But yeah, it's been very cool to watch, and it's cool to watch creators grow. I was watching an old Anna video the other day with one of my kids, where she talks about, her experience with Star Wars bullying. And it's a really, great video. I mean, I think it's things that any kid who's going through a tough time should be able to see. And Anna just looks like she still looks like a kid to me, but she's like, so much younger. I mean, she's changed, and that wasn't that long ago. That was a couple of years ago. And it's funny to believe these are the same people. Same thing goes with, frankly, everybody who's on YouTube. I'm sure I'll look back on, although I've got a couple of years into this, but I'm sure I'll really look back in maybe a year or two, if I'm still alive, and be kind of like, wow, is that what I used to sound like? Is that, what my streams used to be? I think it takes a while to get kind of into a groove with YouTube streaming. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it, really enjoying it. And I look forward to all those streams. I can't believe how many. I remember the first time I'm trying to think of whose stream I was on, but the first time I was on a stream waiting in the background to go on, probably was Michael's stream, come to think of it. I think it was Joe and Michael. So yeah, pretty wild. Cool. Just making sure I'm keeping up with everything. Oh my Lord. Gotta stretch my arm out here. Yeah, keep the kids, do not let this happen to your arm, okay? That's not good for you. Make sure you keep your arm on the straight and narrow. Don't end up like your Uncle Sean. Do you listen to Rob Liefeld's Spotify podcast? I don't. He's another one with a lot of historical information about the business. No, but I was a huge Rob Liefeld fan back in the day, and I do think Rob has a lot of knowledge, and he has a lot of experience, and it is interesting too because actually, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on a stream. The reason why I backed. Um, Let me see if I can use my brain here. The reason why I backed Graveyard Shift the first time, and the first time I kind of really met. Oh, you've been on Frega's channel a few times. Very cool. Yeah, Dan's great. Dan's great. Dan lives where I used to live, or close to where I used to live in Chattanooga. But yeah, Frega's a good dude. And the thing about it is it's like Rob, Rob was run down a lot. It was like the hip thing to do. And I was on a stream and John was like basically, talking well of Rob and kind of, I'll say he was defending him, but he kind of was. He was like going, look, Rob did this and that and the other thing. And I really respected that. And that's actually why I backed Graveyard Shift the first time. I was like, I like this guy who's defending Rob Liefeld and has a good take on him. So it is funny how that stuff works. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for Rob Liefeld. I think about being his age and the contributions that he has made to comics. When he was such a young person. But if it wasn't, I mean, he designed the Image Eye. He released the first indie book that showed everybody that it was financially worthwhile to do. If there's a person who has an equivalent for showing it's possible, I think it's Richard C. Meyer, and John would be the artist on that little venture. It's like to do Jawbreakers. So, it's that's why you got to have respect for those guys. I mean, Comicsgate as a publishing, writing, making stuff thing, I think Ethan made it bigger than it was, for sure, by a lot. And he's one of the most essential, Comicsgaters. Like, no one can ever say otherwise about the guy. But it really was, and he knows, I mean, he says this all the time, but it really was John and Zach that we all owe a debt of gratitude for going out there. And they took the slings and arrows big time. I mean, huge. Those guys were, like Comicsgate very well could have been something that was affiliated with Antarctic Press if they hadn't have been canceled there. And I think about all of the places that they were chased out of, and all of the, Kickstarter, Antarctic Press. I mean, and then you think about Rob going to Malibu and doing, what it was first called, whatever the X, I forget what it was called actually. It wasn't Generation X, but it was something like that, Extreme or something like that. And then Marvel threatened to sue him, and then it turned into Young Blood, all that stuff. Let me see here. In my high school, my friends and I were big fans of Jim Lee. Yeah, absolutely. Will Sportacio, Filipino. I love the Filipino people too. My brothers are Filipino. Brothers from another mother. McFarlane, Liefeld, Silvestri, and Larson. My art teacher liked to tell us the story of picking up Todd at the airport. Whoa, very cool. And her daughter sat on Todd's lap on his way to his brother-in-law's house. That is awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, you gotta love that sort of stuff, It's yeah, there are all these there's these, like, you'd go to conventions and and then you'd be on the shuttle bus going from the airport to San Diego Comic-Con with Alex Ross. It was so completely interesting, to see. And I love those times. I love when comics was what it will be again and what it's being again right now, which is I love when it was actually just about loving comics and fans and making cool stuff. And I think that's really what we're bringing back with Comicsgate. But I think it's also, I'm starting to feel like there are forces that are bigger than Comicsgate. Like, it's just the political fatigue that's going on. Political fatigue that's going on right now with the pop culture. People are just done. They're like, I can't, people are tired of being bored and not entertained, is the best way I could put it. And so they're looking for anything. And if it's people on YouTube being entertaining, if it's people, making really entertaining comics. I mean, I think about it this way. Nosfero is one of those books that I'm curious to see how it goes by the end of the campaign. But it's going to be such a cool book that I think that I'm not too worried about where it goes from here. I know that more people see it, more people are going to want to back it. And I know when it comes out, it's going to be the I'm not going to do a big overprint on Nosfero because I want to make sure that I do an actual, second printing of the book, so that if you miss the first printing of the book, you're going to have to get that. You're going to get a second printing, so that the people who back the book at the first printing point are getting something that's totally limited. First appearance of Nosfero in a story, and it's going to have his origin story, all of that stuff on it. And, that's my goal, for the book, is to make it something that collectors who've backed it and got in early on it, really can appreciate, really dig. And actually, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna leave the camera on because I'm not doing. I'm gonna leave the camera on as my voice goes away, because we're not a professional outfit here. Gotta get myself something to drink here. Whew. This is my version of alcohol. There we go. Drink a soda if you've got them. Let's see here. It's time to have a Coca-Cola. Wow, it's already been 51 minutes. My God. But I'm not tired yet. So here we are. Glorious. And just before I hopped on here, I saw that Ethan was streaming, I think, with Dale Keown. So pretty cool. Let's see here. What you got? Leg kick here. Leg kick one. I think the writers nowadays, for movies as well as comics, need a lot of tutelage. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you kill off a generation of mentors. Guys like Shooter, Claremont, and Wolfman could definitely help, but movies are definitely lacking in direction. Yeah, I don't think that. I think you could say that about. I think you could say that about a lot of teachers. I think you could say that about a lot of journalists. To be sure, people don't even know what journalism is anymore. People who do the job. You could say that about writers. I mean, the amount of times that I see, like, let's talk about editors for a minute. And it's something that Aldous and I, have talked about too. Like, editors in the basic sense of not art directing anything. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I never have to worry about, but I appreciate you coming over here from there. But I was just thinking to myself, I never feel guilty ever streaming when I see that Ethan's streaming. If I have a minute to stream, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm making more content because I know that Ethan's going to be fine. He's going to make it. He'll survive me streaming at the same time, along with almost anybody else. But I do appreciate you being here. It's always nice to have company when I'm doing this, But yeah, I mean, it's. I just kind of think that there's this like lost. I mean, even thinking about artists too. At some point, to improve, you have to have someone to mentor you to skill up. Although it's a very strange time because I think a lot of people can find those mentors on YouTube. Like there's people going, okay, here's how you get this effect. Here's how you make something prepped for pre-press. There's a lot of generous people out there with knowledge who are sharing it right now. And I don't know. I was talking to my wife about this. We were having a debate about college and sending kids to college and all that kind of thing. And I was saying to her, I go, you used to have to go and be in person somewhere to get information on like how to do something skill wise, or at least that's what you thought you were going there to get outside of politics and all of that business. And then at a certain point, YouTube came along and you can find very specific knowledge. Like I learned stuff about how to, do different digital things, or if I run into something with, software I'm trying to learn, it's right there. It's available, Yeah, on the job training. You're absolutely right. And I think that, all of us benefit from having, the people with the best eyes, the best experience, and in some ways the best insight are people who are working in the field. And so, yeah, you're hard pressed to find a better school than the school of hard knocks. And that's kind of what it is. I've done 2 Indiegogo campaigns. This is my 3rd Indiegogo campaign, and I've learned something on every single campaign. When people talk about Art Book 1, someone asked me, they go, did you go on in demand with Art Book 1? And I was like, well, you couldn't go in demand on your first Indiegogo until you've funded and I think shipped a project. You cannot use the in-demand feature. So I only got that for my second art book. And then I had to kind of go, well, what does this mean? Like, how do I use this thing exactly? And how do I make sure I've checked the box so that it goes in demand, like, like Nosfero is right now. And so, yeah, it's a huge, huge learning curve. Huge learning curve. But, the only way to learn it sometimes is just to jump in, and try it. But I do love on the job training. It's, shit, I gotta tell you. I love that's the word that came out when I thought of it. But when you start teaching college, if you go and get a master's degree, you get a master's degree, and it's very much about doing your own work and what's your thesis. It's very self-involved. There is very little in the way of training. You can do a teaching assistantship in some cases, but no one sits down and actually teaches you how to teach, which is odd for a degree that's designed to prepare you to be a college teacher. So the thing that made me a successful teacher was really me knowing how to walk into a room and explain things to people and being able to handle a lot, just to let you know, DC has books that cover writing. Yes. By Denny O'Neil. Yes. Drawing, coloring, and lettering. The only one I don't have is lettering. Yeah. It's interesting for me. I will tell you honestly, there may be some great stuff in those books, and I'm not ever against checking out. Shockingly, I'm very pro looking at any book that has knowledge and information in it. That's kind of how we do things, right? And but for me, I look a lot more at it's a lot more of watching movies and reading literature, if that makes sense. Not the comics I've read are going to be burned into my memory forever, but it's almost like this. It's like I know comic books, or how do I word this? I know comic books. I think in comics. Do you know what I mean? I've read comics so much that I feel like when I look at the page, it all happens at the same time. I just think in comics. I dreamt in comics as a kid. It's just, I know you know what I'm talking about, but it's such a beautiful art form. I love it so much. And I just lived in comic books for a while there, and I still do. It's a little different though. Now I live in the comics I make. I work at Boeing. Oh, very cool. The classes I don't think will be as important as hands-on. Yes. Yeah, well, oh my God. You work at Boeing? My God, my son would be like freaking out right now. He is super into aviation and doing 3D models and studying aviation and accuracy. Like he gets out schematics from archives to figure out how to build planes and get all the rivets correct. And so he loves that, like, aviation to death. If that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, it's I don't know how, far into the rivet counting level he is, but he's pretty into it. He got sat next to a pilot on our last flight, and God bless the boy. He let the man sleep because he had a lot of questions for him. And when he was landing, I said, "It's okay if you talk to him." He goes, "Are you a pilot?" And he's like, "Yeah." "What kind of plane do you fly?" And he gave him the plane. And he goes, "No, but like, which one?" Who manufactured it? It was hilarious. Oh my gosh, you're by the Museum of Flight. Is that the one that has the GB that was in the Rocketeer, the GBZ, that they built the replica for the Rocketeer? I don't know if that's the one, but I absolutely watched the video. I forget what the name of the gentleman is who built it and was going to fly it again. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, the Museum of Flight that has that plane, I've always wanted to go there because there's a Museum of Flight in Connecticut, or Aviation Museum, that we go to that's got a GBR. I forget which one it is, the red and white one. Hey, what's up, Mighty Geek Studios? Yeah, absolutely doing well. How are you doing, my friend? My dad worked there. Wow. And was a machinist for 50 years. He worked at Hughes, Lockheed, McDonnell Douglas, and Disney. Holy cow, that is awesome. So was that the place that had the GBZ from the Rocketeer? And what's up, Mighty Geek Studios? Happy New Year to you as well, and Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah, I'm a huge Rocketeer fan, and I and this Disney storyboard artist who's a friend of mine, and actually he worked at Disney. Now he's working in feature films. He's worked on a bunch of different stuff. He worked on the Chris Pratt movie, I think, that went either straight to Netflix or Amazon. I'm not sure which one it was, the time travel one. And but he's massively into aviation and planes too. And I sent him a present of a GBR. I forget which one it was. The one of them, but it was a die-cast metal replica of a GB. It wasn't the Z or the what was the other one they did? It was the one that that crashed with the Spanish, or was it Spanish pilot? I'm trying to think of where he was from. Maybe Argentinian. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. The Rocketeer movie is great. Yeah, you should look into it. It's I forget the name of the pilot who built it. Oh, good to hear you're doing well, Mighty Geek Studios. Yeah, we're just hanging out and painting some Masquerade, and I've got to adjust this camera. Hang on a second, guys. I think I bumped it a little bit, and that's why it's not in the right place. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like how here's one of the things I like about Comicsgate. Comicsgate has so many fans of this art form who have really interesting careers and really amazing careers. We've got a lot of veterans. We've got a lot of people who work in contracting and building houses and all kinds of different jobs. And it's just like, it's such a resource of skilled people, or such a collection of skilled people. Everybody appreciates each other's craft, and it's just awesome. The Tomorrow War was a very good. I really liked that movie too, and that's the one he worked on. Yeah, he came out here, and we had he's working on another movie right now that's out here, and we went out and we sat by the water here, Narragansett Bay, near where I live, and we were talking shop, and he felt like the critics really didn't like the movie and everything like that. He was a little bit bummed about it, but I sent him a video of my wife and my daughter watching it, and he was it made him happy. I said, look, this is what's happening with this movie on the ground. Don't get too sucked into it. Hey, what's up, Bianca Zombie? Good to see you, and Happy New Year. It's like every time, like, how do I word this? I can't think about the people who are not backing and not interested in Nosfero and not interested in my work. The thing I have to do is stay focused on and grow the people who are, and tell them I appreciate their support and express my gratitude, because that is what CG is all about. And the fact that on New Year's Eve you could have people in this community who are excited enough to check out a stream and chill and all that stuff is just I think it's fantastic. I just think it's a great place to be. Hey, what's up, Skip Edwards Art? Good to see you, my friend. Awesome. Great to have you here. And I'm sure you probably can guess who this character is. I promised Phil I would do more work on this, so I got it, right? Got to take care of Phil. Phil and I have been having so many fun conversations on Twitter about pop culture and sending progress work back and forth. You got to look after your bros. It's the way it is. And your B-Ros. Never forget. Let's see. Oh, I work in the building that has the flight simulators. Very cool. It's wild to walk around a corner and you find yourself in a cockpit. My God, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, so cool. Yeah, you would definitely be, my son would definitely, you'd be one of his heroes for that one. That's so cool. Yeah, he actually did game design for an open source game called GOFS, which is a flight simulator game, and he coded and built aircraft since the time he was like 15 or so for that game, and he's made some incredible stuff for it, some great models, and actually now he's doing pro work in the industry, so that's kind of cool. Hey, what's up? How to Draw Comics? What's up, Dan Lawless? Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. I'm really looking forward to 2022. I feel like it's going to be the CG year. It's going to be a period where we boom as a creative force and as a community. So it's great to see you in here. Let's see. Yeah, Happy New Year, leg kick. Yeah, Phil is the worst kick Phil. Well, Phil's not here yet, so I can't kick Phil yet, can I? He's not here yet. And if he does end up in here, God knows what'll happen. He's actually, I think is he New Year's in Chicago yet? I think it is. So yeah, he's probably partying down on New Year's. Hey, what's up, SDA? Good to see you, my friend, and Happy New Year to you. Just working on some Masquerade. Phil and I were talking about putting the arm of this character in here and making sure that it had the proper face, right here, so to make it work with the rest of the character. So I thought we should Bob Ross it up for the new year, roll into 2022 with some painting and some work. If anyone has a channel, Phil is willing to jump on and hang out. Good dude, yeah, but he is the worst. I'm telling you, it's a paradox. It's an absolute paradox. Yeah, Phil is like have camera and mic, will stream. He is the man for that. And yeah, he's a good dude. Let's see here. Oh, about 15 more minutes to go on the West Coast. Well, I bring news from the future. I'm sure my Australian brothers could say the same thing. 2022 is just fine. The water is great. Feel free to come on in. It's fantastic. The water is fine. Oh, it's almost 2 a.m. here in Chicago. Holy cow, Mighty Geek Studios. Really, gosh. I go through Chicago all the time. I don't know if you live in Chicago or visiting Chicago or recently moved to Chicago, but one of the most frustrating things about the pandemic is I missed a dream convention that I had planned to go to. We had the hotel, we had the tickets, and then it was canceled because of the coof, which was G-Fest. You guys have the big Godzilla convention in Chicago, and I am desperate to get there. Oh, wow. About 15 minutes to go on the West Coast. Yes, indeed. Yeah, but I really would love Mighty Geek Studios to go to G-Fest at some point. I love that idea of that convention. Such a cool place. And I've met so many cool people who are kaiju fans. Oh, you live in Chicago. Awesome. Have you ever been to G-Fest? I don't know if you like kaiju and that kind of thing. There's also a shop there my son wants to go to. He was super into Legos, and there's an outfit that does custom like military Lego parts that they make that are like historically accurate out of Chicago. That is really, really cool. And he's very interested in like, tanks and military stuff. So I wanted to take him there at some point, but now he's so into building tanks and 3D stuff. I don't know if he'd still be into Legos, but I did order from one of them, the World of Tanks. They had a the World War One tank. It's in India. Indiana Jones. I'm blanking on its name. But it's a really cool looking tank. It's in They Shall Not Grow Old, the documentary by Peter Jackson. Let me see here. Yeah, Zillicon. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Oh, you have been to G-Fest. Oh, I am very jealous, my friend. Tell me of G-Fest, man. I really want to go. Some of the stuff I've seen there is so cool. One of my favorite YouTubers and favorite Godzilla. He is my favorite Godzilla collecting YouTuber is a guy named Leslie Chambers who does Leslie Chambers Kaiju reviews. And it's a great channel, and I'd love to meet Leslie. He's a cool dude, great YouTuber, has a massive collection. He and his wife, Sandra, seem like really good people. Let's see here. Let me just put my glasses on a little bit better. Let's see. Oh, do you eat at Portillo's, Mighty Geek? If you do, have a hot Italian beef for me, please. Yeah, like we're gonna be giving Mighty Geek giving him food requests for those of us who aren't in Chicago. Live for us, Mighty Geek Studios. We need it. We need that Chicago. That's the way it is. Yeah, I mean it's like it's funny too because I love Chicago deep dish pizza too, and one of my favorite kinds of pizzas. And I remember I was coming from the airport and I was talking about this pizzeria that does deep dish pizza here called Cecilia's. And it was funny. Like I never realized how pissed people got about pizza. But the cabbie who was driving us, I go, the best pizza place I love in Providence, Rhode Island is Cecilia's deep dish. It's the best pizza. And he looked the cabbie, stopped the cab, looked over his shoulder and went, where you from, guy? Yeah, Art Adams draws a killer Godzilla. But I will tell you this, for those of you guys who've backed my book at the art book campaign, I would say that I'm not saying whatever rivals Arthur Adams, but I do a damn good Godzilla. In fact, most of the people who became fans of my work on Instagram became fans of my work for my kaiju art. And it's kind of funny because Shane's doing a kaiju book right now, but my first idea for a CG book, I just couldn't figure out where to go with it. Narratively, I have to know what the story is going to be, so it wasn't ready for the project yet. And you can actually see it if you go back on my Instagram. You can see the development work. Some of the development work I did for it was a kaiju book. And I just so it was kind of like a, oh God, what's the best way I would describe it? I can't really describe it without giving it away. And I might do something with it down the line, so we'll see. But for everybody who's pointed out that I can paint and draw good monsters, and I appreciate people saying that. Lord Crackhead 33 is always being supportive. Yeah, I definitely have had many monsters outside of even horror monster plans for this stuff. Let's see here. Art Adams. I love Art Adams, by the way. I do have several of his sketchbooks. He does great stuff. Nearest Portillo's to here is Anaheim. Laugh out. Ooh, that's brutal. That's a commute, I'm imagining. you will fall into one of three categories: classic, modern, and neo-modern. There you go. There you go. True words. Shin Godzilla. Yeah, Shin Godzilla is I know is Shane Davis's favorite Godzilla movie. I really like Shin Godzilla. I've got a Shin Godzilla that's sculpted by I believe his name is Yuji Sakai. I've got the Bandai Frozen Shin Godzilla here that they did for God, what's it called? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking on it. Oh, sorry, SH Monster Arts. Then I've got the 2004 Godzilla statue over there. I have not yet bought a classic Godzilla, the 54, which is the one I want to get at some point, because all the 54s are so expensive. I just can't afford one yet. Oh, and I also have a Jet Jaguar over here from the era that I grew up watching Godzilla. Jet Jaguar was huge for me. And finally, I think it was Playmates started putting out affordable Godzilla stuff. And God, to get a Jet Jaguar is so expensive. And so, yeah, one of the characters I came up with to fight my kaiju character is a robot character that's kind of inspired by Jet Jaguar. It's like Jet Jaguar meets Wolverine. It's insane. Yeah, give me. There's 4 people in here. Give me a 1 in the chat if you guys want to see any of the artwork from that, because I have it in the drawer right over there, and I'd be happy to show you guys some of it. It's not really good because it was such a scribbly thing, but I think I can show you some of the stuff I came up with for it. It was interesting. It would be so different if I did something with it now, but let me know. Let's see here. Mike Geek says, when having Italian beef sandwich in Chicago, you must learn proper etiquette to eat it. I have to tell you honestly, Japanese Godzilla is the best. American is nowhere close. Absolutely. Jaguar 1. Okay, so we got someone show it. Okay, 2. Well, we'll say that's enough. Yeah, let me tell you something, guys. Any sense that you might have that I have any kind of civilized anything would go out the door if you guys see me eating any kind of meat sandwich of any sort. Like I've gone to Pat's and I've gone to Gino's in Philadelphia. I'm sure Ethan's been to those places. People always say, which do you prefer, Pat's or Gino's? And my response would be, what do you mean? Like, you mean which one do I prefer to eat at first? Because I will eat at both. I am equal opportunity when it comes to eating like meat delivery systems, which is to say burritos, all of that stuff. I love it. I'm one of those people. I love steak. I don't know if steak loves me, but I love steak. Yeah, but this is a very weird thing because I started working on it. Sorry about bumping the camera there. But I started working on it before I was working on cold pressed paper. Oh God, this stuff looks very, very primitive, guys. So I'm only showing it to you because I love you. But this is one of the character sketches right there. And so that was kind of the violent sort of, violent version of Jet Jaguar. And then you can see the main character right there. That's a profile of the main character as I was putting that together. And then here is, and I was doing some hand lettering. I was playing around with a lot of stuff here. And then here is the main character right here. And he's got the kind of like Godzilla suit, crazy legs. There's his tail, actually a little bit of Shin Godzilla in the tail. And then there he is breaking apart the type that has his name on it. And let's see what else we have. And it was kind of a little bit more like anime and manga kind of style, but it was like weird. I still hadn't found it. Now I know exactly what I would do with if I did something with it. If you guys want to know how many sketches go into an idea that I don't pursue, it totally is Todd McFarlane's Hulk. If you look over my shoulder, it's absolutely inspired by Todd's Hulk. But this is how much work I do for something that isn't going to go anywhere. It's like you can see all this stuff on my Instagram way back when. You'd have to go way, way, way back when. Yeah, absolutely. No, he doesn't. He does. He his tail to kick the bad guy. Yeah, his tail is. Let me see what else. Oh, you know what? I'm missing. I just realized I'm missing a piece of artwork from this. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on a second. I've got guys so much artwork in here. It's crazy stuff. Not here. Let's see. Is there anything painted on that? Nope. Nothing painted there. Wow, I've got a ton of artwork in here, guys. There's a painting in here I did for Tug. Good Lord. I did a painting of that Umbrella Guy's character in here somewhere. There's a piece I did of Red Rooster way back when. My God, this goes back a ways. The hell is that one? Huh. I don't recognize some of this stuff. There's my still in the bag copy of Cyberfrog. Where is that piece? Oh, here it is. Yeah, if you thought that other piece was an ode to Todd McFarlane's Hulk and the Hulk ripping apart the sign, yeah, this will seal the deal for you. Let's see if I can move. God, I'm just destroying everything in a good way, though. It's worth doing. This stuff is it's not going to be seen. What's the point? Here you go. So here is my ode to the Hulk 340 cover that I was roughing in. So this was a 3 different character kind of situation. So this was a giant kaiju, the other character, and then my Wolverine Jet Jaguar character getting his helmet crushed in there with that thumb of the character that's about to attack him while another character's about to eat both of them. So yeah, that was I really love the Raymond Burr Godzilla. I just saw it in chat. So let me see. Doing the Hulk scene, both are very cool. Oh, thank you very much, How to Draw Comics, Dan Lawless. Leg kick, does he ride his tail kick the bad guy? Actually uses his tail as almost like a spear to destroy and devastate. And then most Gen Xers' first experience with Godzilla was on the Saturday morning cartoon of the late 70s. Interesting. I saw mine on movie repeats. So I was like a big Jet Jaguar, Godzilla versus Megalon, which is a weird way to start. And then Godzilla 1985 with Raymond Burr coming back again. Loved that one. But the first is my favorite. That's the one I have on Criterion, and that's the one I watch probably the most. Let's see here. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the colors, Dan. I appreciate that. Perry Mason takes Godzilla to court would have been awesome. Mine was the black and white original with poor subtitles. Yep, I'm there too. I've been going through all the Godzilla, including the cartoons and King Kong. Okay, so if I have to choose between the two, King Kong or Godzilla, I am solidly a King Kong person. And I love Godzilla. So that is not a slight on Godzilla. I actually have the art of Shin Godzilla over there that I ordered from Japan. Fabulously expensive book, but it shows all of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I've got a book on the history of Godzilla somewhere over here on the floor, just tons and tons of stuff. But I love King Kong. I love the 76 King Kong. I love King Kong's appearances in the Toho movies. I think it was the Toho movies at that point, was it? But yeah, King Kong Escapes and Godzilla versus King Kong. And then I don't think there's a King Kong movie that I haven't enjoyed on some level. Let's see. Mine was the black and white original, poor subtitles. I've been going through all the Godzillas. Yeah, if anybody is feeling like, I need to watch some entertainment that just makes me feel good, just go through the Godzilla movies. You will not regret it. Go through those Godzilla movies. It is so fun. The giant monster movies are awesome. I wish they would release. I actually called the studio headquarters to ask if they were going to release a Blu-ray edition in the States. I can't even find it anywhere for an affordable price of Godzilla versus Biollante. That's a really hard one to find from the 80s. But I do have like a terrible edition of it that I got off Internet Archive. But I'm like, please let me give you money. Please let me buy this. So yeah, absolutely. To be honest, Kong was more human than the average human. Yeah, absolutely. I even like the Rick Baker, again, 76 one. I don't. It doesn't mind that. God, I'm totally blanking on it. Jessica Lange was in that movie. She was great in that flick. But yeah, love that stuff. Yeah, exactly. Isn't that funny? It's so hard to track some of those movies down. But I own a great deal of the Godzilla movies. I have the Criterion release of the Godzilla movies they did recently with those sets. And then a couple of them from Japan. I think I own 3 copies, including the Shout Factory of the 76 Kong. I own the deluxe edition of the Peter Jackson Kong. I own Kong Skull Island. I actually enjoyed Kong Skull Island. I thought because it was such a nod to the 70s Kong, and then the some of the ones from the Kong Godzilla movies. Let's see here. Yeah, and I just, to be honest, I thought that they did some really cool stuff with the characters and the creatures in that. And it was a sort of a slow burn for me, but it was like a fun, if you were going to tie Kong into the Godzilla universe, it was a good way to do it. I think it worked out pretty well. And clearly, I mean, it made decent money. I love the fact that it was kind of in the 70s era, and it made for a really great adventure story. So yeah, I mean, I got to tell you guys, I'm really excited. I had a fun time painting Inglorious Rex, but I'm really excited to get that book. I know Shane will kick ass on it and really deliver on it, because he's such an amazing professional. Yanzi and him. How many of you guys? Here's a question I have for the chat. Godzilla versus Mothra, yeah, is the one I'm having trouble finding. Yeah, that is absolutely a great one. And it's some of my friends' favorite. It's the one I've seen, one of the movies I've seen the least. Let's see here. I want to see Godzilla, see the Godzilla with Don Fry in it. Yeah, that's right. Haven't found that one yet. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Happy New Year. How's the Great Sage? Good to see you, man. Yeah, I want a Gamera versus Godzilla. Hell yeah. So yeah, it's like, I love Gamera is another one, guys. There's so many, like, I could have probably had, if it wasn't for dadgum CG and all of the wonderful people in it, I probably could have had a career continuing to paint and releasing art books of, different Godzilla type characters. So many people do that, and it's a really cool thing. I've met some cool people in that in that community. But it is nice to see that there's room for kaiju art and kaiju books, and no one at Comicsgate is stopping me from making more art books. You guys have been great and supporting the art books when you back Nosfero. So thank you to everybody who's been backing Nosfero. You've got some great Godzilla and Kong art in that book. If you like giant gorillas, those art books are great. And who's to say I won't do something with those themes again and have things cross over? It all depends on this. So let me see here. Oz the Great Sage. Happy New Year as well. I'm glad they set Kong Skull Island in the 70s. I am too. It worked. It was nice. And I love the storyline with Sam Jackson, who's actually from Chattanooga, Tennessee, the same town I grew up in. And had some great actors in that movie too. The guy from who played Nucky Thompson's brother in Boardwalk Empire is a great actor. Let's see. Do you remember a comic called Super Boxers? No, I don't actually. Reminds you of Shane's comic? No, I don't, but I'm going to have to check that out. It sounds really cool. What period did it come out during? What's Silver Age, Golden Age? Let's see here. Crackle, the free movie app, has a bunch of the Godzilla flicks in it. Very cool, Leg Kick one. Nice. It's good to hear that. And let's see. Geek looking for Godzilla versus Mothra on DVD? ? Super Boxers. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I haven't heard of Super Boxers. I heard about there was another one that Shane was talking about, or someone brought up, called Kaiju something. I forget what it was, number something, that is a kaiju manga that's out, but I don't know of any like big fighting superhero books. That sounds kind of cool. Yeah, give us more intel on that. Oh, late 80s or so. Very cool. I remember there was a lot of really cool stuff in the 80s, and maybe it was in the 70s. I think it was the 80s. Things like, Micronauts and Bucky O'Hare and stuff like that. That's really kind of, actually saw on this store called Big Bad Toy Store. And I'm pretty sure that my man, Patrick Thomas Warnell, knows about Big Bad Toy Store, as well as a lot of you guys, they're releasing Bucky O'Hare and action figures and all of that stuff. So some of that stuff's coming back from, was it Kamiko Comics? I forget what comic company it was that put that stuff out. But yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff. Oh, nice. It's on Kaiju number 7. That's it. Thank you, Oz the Great Sage. Let's see here. The 80s or so. Yes, I am. Very cool. Kaiju number 9. Sorry, did I say 7? I think I said Kaiju number 9. And then Continuity Comics. That's what it was. Thank you. Continuity Comics. Neil Adams. Thank you. Yeah. Jim Steranko's Bucky O'Hare. Look at it. It all goes back to Steranko, people. It all goes back to Steranko. Oh, it's cool. Oh, excellent. It's on eBay. Continuity Comics. Awesome. Yeah. Kaiju number 9, I don't know much about it. I did Google it when someone brought it up, but I wonder, is it good? Have any of you guys read Kaiju number 9? Oh, Kaiju Max, very cool. Nice. Yeah, I haven't read it yet. I'm curious if it's any good because that strikes me as a tough genre to do. Not impossible, but a tough genre to do in manga. Okay, Hanna-Barbera did quite a few Kong ripoffs. Yeah, absolutely. I got to. It's Kaiju number 8. I'm on my on my phone. There you go. Kaiju number 8. There you go. So I said 7. You put 9, and it was somewhere in the middle. So there you go. Oh, you like it? Cool. Well, that's good enough of a recommendation to me. You know, if usually I know when people bring things up, they like it, but you know, when I hear about something a few times, it means that it struck a nerve with people. But when I hear a firsthand account of somebody saying, "Hey, I enjoy it," it's worth looking at. I'd love to see how someone's tackling that. My kaiju book was a little bit like, gosh, it was a combination of, Godzilla versus Megalon, The Incredible Hulk, and Johnny Sacco and his giant robot. That was another show I loved watching as a kid. I just loved Giant Robo, depending on who you, what country you were in when you saw it. But I loved that show. And with the live action show, for those of you guys who've seen the anime. So there's something cool about that. Oh, fireworks going off, SDA. Excellent. You're a weeb, though, says Oz the Great Sage. Well, you're safe here. Don't worry. Yeah, Happy New Year, West Coast. Absolutely. Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah, guys, Happy New Year. It's a good time, isn't it? It's a great time to be alive, making comics, buying comics, and being a part of Comicsgate. And that's one of the things I'm most grateful for in the last. See where my soda ran off to. That's one of the things I'm most grateful for about this past year, man, is all the cool stuff that's gone on with Comicsgate. And it's hard to imagine I started this year working at a college. This time New Year, I was on break between semesters at a college and very deep into thinking about whether I was going to be leaving that profession, to go and do my artwork and do my paintings and join CG. And so to be, SDA, be careful, man. But it's, don't find yourself in a pickle with the fireworks going off, man. But it's like this, if you told me I was going to be bringing in the very next New Year with the campaign at 5 figures and just doing some of the best artwork ever for this project, I wouldn't have believed you. And I've met so many cool people and a lot of you, all of you guys. It's been really amazing. So yeah, cheers to you guys and Happy New Year to my West Coast brothers. Congratulations on making it through another year. And for also making Comicsgate what it is, a huge success. And probably one of the most important pop culture movements I've seen in my lifetime, which is pretty exciting. So let's see here. Here's to a bigger and better thing, Shanti. Absolutely. Hail, brother. Hail back at you. What 2 genres would you love to combine? Wow. That's good. Well, the 2 I'm doing, so the ones I'm doing for Nosfero, which is pulp and horror, definitely. And then I would say superhero and kaiju. Those are the 2 I would like to do. But I will tell you, it's interesting. Oh, boy, that's a really good question. Yeah, right now I would say those are my 2 that are where I live, because both allow me to center on monsters. And I think that's a huge one, let's see here. Okay, cool. Let me take a look. Oh, Neighbors Nearby. There you go. How to Draw Comics by Dan Lawless says, looked it up. Super Boxers cover by Bill Sienkiewicz. I'm probably pronouncing it. It's I know that Shane knows how to pronounce it. It's like Sienkiewicz or something. I forget how to do it. Interiors by John Byrne. Holy cow. And Armando Gill, 1983. You're in for a treat. Yeah, that sounds like one of the best sales pitches I've heard outside of Comicsgate. That's amazing. But I'm buying so many old books right now, old comics that I'm getting into. It's kind of cool. Oh, God, I love soda. It's going to be the death of me, but what are you going to do? But yeah, my latest find, I know a lot of you guys have seen this, but this is my latest find right now. Sin Kev Itch. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. This is my favorite one right now, with different artists, and this is the one that's got John Bolton doing horror comics. So this is the Hammer Horror, Curse of the Wolfman, and this is like another one of those, comic books that's just reminding me what was possible in comics, and it's going to be a huge, huge influence on me as I work on this book. That should be your next comic book. Yeah, I mean, it depends on where we are with Nosfero, comic superheroes and kaiju. I'm definitely game for it, Yeah, Hammer time. I love Hammer Horror. Love Hammer Horror. The biggest thing for me that I'm looking forward to doing in Nosfero is, though, and this is the thing that's kind of making me lean into Nosfero right now. It's not to say that I won't do the other one, but it depends on what people's reaction is when Nosfero hits. Like, there's so many different things to it. But I really am getting to do the kind of sexy Frazetta girl thing in Nosfero, and that's another genre that's another type of artwork I want to do. I just got a big Gil Elfgren book in the mail that they put out, that I slept on when I saw it in Barnes and Noble, and then it was like $40 to get. But I want that pinup stuff. Hey, what's up, Felix Haas? How you doing? Yeah, I really want to get like the kind of Hammer Horror, Hammer Beauties pinup stuff into Nosfero, and so like I said, you guys will see when the book comes out. But that's going to be my big, that's one of my big things right now, artwork wise, is I want to paint more. I want to paint more women. I feel like I've been really wanting to. I did it in my first two art books, so if you get those books, you're going to see what I mean. But I've been really wanting to kind of get the monsters, the sexiness, and the creature stuff. I haven't decided totally, but when I've been looking at the final confrontation, which is going to involve, I can't even tell you what it's going to involve yet. Hey, what's up, Lord Revner? How you doing? It's one of those things to where, yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm trying to decide if I want the final fight scene to involve, Laurel, the main good character, fighting in some kind of like, metal bikini. Like, I think it just might have to happen. Let me know what you guys make of that. But that's the stuff I'm enjoying about Nosfero, because, you were talking about combining genre. There's a pulp quality to it mixed with a horror quality, but there's also a little bit of the kind of sword and sorcery thing to it. There's a little Conan in there too. That comes with the Frazetta stuff, Yeah, hail, brother. It's good to see you in here. And I hope you're having a great new year. And I'm looking forward to it. Hey, what's up, Shaggy Bear? How you doing? Oh, coming from the EVS stream. Oh, they wrapped up already. Cool. Who all was in the EVS stream? When I was there, I saw Dale, which was awesome. His Cyberfrog work is so good. I'm excited to see that stuff and back those books. But yeah, man, it's like, yeah, EVS was funny. I think when I saw the stream, he was talking about having, I guess his stepdaughter had a bunch of friends over, and that's when you have to hide in the basement and maybe do a stream. That's the kind of thing that happens. EVS Raiders. Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Yeah, EVS, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to him having a very prosperous 2022. 2021 was just a amazing shift in terms of the scope and scale of his business and how everything was going. I've got somewhere kicking around here, I've got my all caps baseball cap. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So as a way of saying Happy New Year to EVS. Oh, you were in the EVS chat. Awesome. Let me say this. If you guys can see this here, that's my tip of the hat, my all caps hat to EVS, wishing him a happy and prosperous new year. But yeah, I mean, what an inspiration he's been for me this year, and doing his work, and John and everybody has, and Shane too. Shane's been crushing it this year, and getting to know Mike and Rob and everybody too. The gang down under, the gang from the land down under has been very, very cool. So yeah, lots of great people doing great stuff, and of course my brother on the East Coast, Lord Crackhead 33, who speaks the same English that speaks the same English I speak. New England English, which is great to see. Yeah. Let's see what else we've got here. All right. Everybody's checking in and saying hello and saying their Happy New Year's and their hails, which is what we do here in CG, man. And yeah, Nosfero's coming along really, really well. Just renamed the female villainess yesterday as I was scripting. I was like going, I want her to have a name that's similar, but I want her to have something that's a little bit more something I own and sums up her character, because she's sort of like the the vampire, sexy sort of temptress, and found a name that that is very similar to her current name or the name that I had for her, but it just has a little bit more oomph to it, a little bit more femme fatale. But I know it's hard to describe. Sexy Frazetta villain, hammer horror beauty, any way you want to look at it. Let's see here. Yeah, what's up, Skip Edwards? Yeah, once my house was invaded by 18 teenage soccer girls for dinner, I hid in my room until it was safe to emerge. Yeah, oh, seriously. Ethan created a character to troll SJWs and became a hit it became a hit among CG fans all during that stream, man. He's killing it. Yeah, much love for the Bogans. We do love the Bogans. They're awesome. Yeah, you'll have to tell me about the character. That's crazy. Yeah, I've created some some characters to drive social justice warriors characters crazy, and I can assure you none of them I could show you. They're pretty rough. They're pretty they're pretty not suitable for YouTube. I can tell you that. It is what it is. But they were hilarious to me. So yeah, I'll let you always wonder what those were. But yeah, they were parody characters of certain things here. So yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I'm glad you survived, Dan Wallace. Yeah, we're always glad when people survive. You know, when teenage girls descend on your home, and you know, the volume. And I say this with love, but holy cow! If any of you guys who have a teenage daughter who's had her girlfriends over, my God, the volume is amazing. You just go like, how is that possible that they could make that much noise? But it's cool. We love our kids. It is what it is. Let's see here. Yeah, hail. Everybody's giving their hails, and Oz a great sage. Indeed. Yeah, it is. You got to look. You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Know when to shelter in place while your teenage daughter's friends are over. There'll be time enough for hearing when the screaming's done. That's kind of how I was raised there, folks. Let me see here. All right. Mixing up some iron. I know you guys can't see my palette. I apologize for that. It's like a little tough to get everything on screen here. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. He gender swapped Rainbow Bright and called him Rainbow. Oh yeah. I know that. God, that character is awesome. Love that character. Let's see here. It was like a war zone in my hood tonight. Wow. We popped off so many guns tonight. Well, Shaggy Bear, I hope that you were able to escape and that you had a bulletproof umbrella, because I do know how things would happen in El Paso, and also in Dallas, where my wife is from originally. You know, you did have some collateral damage from all of that. So yeah, hopefully everybody is good in your neck of the woods. Choke slam a unicorn. That's right, man. Yeah, those shirts are killer. And I gotta tell you, has he have there been any updates? I know he's posted a lot of stuff and got some of the prototypes, but on those erasers were sick, man. Those things looked amazing. Really cool. I'm amazed at the amount of attention to detail that people like Ethan and Todd, but also God, Michael Bancroft's work he's doing for Rob's proof on Replicator 3. Like, Rob was singing his praises the other day. And I just think that there's just a ton of technical skill you can go to when you're a part of CG. But I mean, those erasers with like the inside of the unicorn and all that stuff, like where it's been sort of filleted by our guy Rainbow the Brute. And I'm like, my God, that stuff is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I mean, I think Ethan's just doing a great job with it, you know. We put all the lead into the dirt. Nobody was harmed. Excellent. Okay, good. You put it straight into the dirt. No one fired it up in the air. Yeah, good. Yeah. I guess that's how we learn, right? We learn to put it there is from other people's misfortunes. But yeah, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Let's see what else we've got here. Yeah, everybody's saying hello to Felix. Yeah, hail SDA. Yeah, it's a great crew, guys. You know, it's a good. What can you say? I mean, you got people who are huge comic book fans in CG. All of us used to go to I'm sure all of us, or a lot of us, although I've heard some people, this is their first foray into collecting comics in some instances, but I know a lot of us used to be there at the comic shop on Wednesdays, or working at comic shops, which I did for a little bit, so we could get there early and put the comic books out and get first dibs. Although this wasn't when I was working in comic shops, I was actually working for a company that did price guides, and so it's weird. Like I was never after variant covers. I was I was not smart, and I don't think there were a lot as many variant covers back in the day. But I always was excited to get the books just slightly early, because I was just such a huge fan of it. Ethan, like you and me, want to live up to our comic book heroes. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's true. It's absolutely true. I did go every week and did pulls. Yeah, I mean, is there anything cooler than seeing that like little? Well, for us, it was like a little pull shelf, and at one comic shop they had it behind the counter where I could see it, but at the other comic shop it was in this little bit of a back room, and you just see your name and there'd be that stack. So I would say things like, "Oh, there's an issue of Tim Vigil's Faust I don't have," or some book that was old. Hey, John, what's up? Oh, yes, Happy New Year to you, my friend, and thank you for popping in and saying hey to stay safe. We appreciate it, brother. You have a good one, okay? Yeah, Shaggy Bear, same here. So glad I have a Spanish style roof, though. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things to where there was just something great about having your name there. And so I'd say, oh, I'm missing this issue or this issue. And if he could get a hold of it, my comic shop owner, Wade, would just grab the books and have them in there for me. And he'd, give me a call and say, hey, man, your books came in. And, what are you going to do? It's the coolest thing in the world. Actually saying it's the coolest thing in the world back in the day may not be accurate. I don't know how cool it ever has been. But it's always been cool for those of us who actually care about this stuff, and it's, I can just remember, I think your boy Zach was talking about Extinction Agenda, which was a huge impact on me, as, an aspiring comic book artist and comic book fan. Loved Extinction Agenda. Remember the fight between Archangel and Wolverine, and, the death of Warlock and a lot of the cool stuff that went on in that book. And those were just great times. So seeing other people, if there's a trade paperback I would like to get at some point, just because I do like to read the individual issues. I'm sorry, I do love to read them collected, and I just don't know if I don't really have the space to keep the original issues safe. And I just feel like if I take them out of circulation only to not take good care of them, I feel like it's just wrong. But I do love to collect the trades, and I'd love to get Extinction Agenda in a collection because I have so many memories. I mean, I lived those stories like they were really happening when I was reading them. Just really great stories. See how that's coming together. It's kind of out of focus here, guys. Sorry. You tip my camera. So if I move it that way, they can see my palette a little bit too. So maybe that's a little bit better. But yeah, I loved Extinction Agenda, and I love seeing whenever I see those covers, the cover with Havoc on it that your boy Zach had posted today, I think it was on his video. I see that stuff and immediately just takes me back, in time. Yeah, Peace Brothers. Shaggy Bear says, Peace Brothers, this is keeping me at Lord Ravener. I haven't heard anything hit the roof yet. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was excited when Harris brought Vampirilla back as part of the bad girl genre of comics. Yeah, I was too. Yeah, I mean, shoot, talk about a character with a storied past. And then also seeing, of course, my love of the Frazetta work that was done for Vampirilla too. I mean, that's cool stuff, guys. And that kind of is what I want to bring. I want to bring. My stuff is going to be kind of like, or Nosfero is going to be a little bit like the creepy and eerie, the Harris comic stuff, Hammer horror films. But then it kind of crosses over into, the superhero thing too. Like there's the horror aspect of it, or the action aspect of it, is just as important to me as with sort of the classic Hammer films, as the sexiness of it and the female figures in it. So those are two things that are really important to me in order to make the book an experience where you get it and you think, like, this is so cool. Like it's just a tribute to the aesthetics of, the kind of beautiful horror films of like Hammer horror mixed with, Frazetta action and all that kind of stuff. I can't tell you how excited I am about this book, guys. I love Nosfero. It is just a great project. When I started to come together, and when I went through a period of kind of coming up with the stuff for it, I knew once that the final pieces of it came together that it was just going to be a book I was in love with making, and I am. It's just a great book. Let's see here. Mighty Geek Studios. Oh, yeah, exactly. Vampirella, just making sure I didn't miss anything there. But yeah, I absolutely love painting that kind of stuff. And, I wanted something, it's strange, it's like it's getting to create those books that we want to see. And I think that, Ethan is talked a lot about how, the old Cyberfrog books aren't like the new Cyberfrog is almost its own thing. It's like a more mature sort of work. And I could say that everything I did up until my sort of, once, I mean, I've obviously been in CG backing books forever, but everything, once I got to the point to where I was ready to launch my book, it's like my art underwent this huge jump that had been happening with the first two art books. But it also kind of happened as a result of like just the intensity of going, I'm now doing a CG book. And I just sort of fired on all thrusters and kind of went, let's do this, let's make this happen. There's your Star Trek reference as opposed to cylinders, saying thrusters. Yeah. But I just can't tell you how psyched I am about this book. It's just going to be great. And it's really coming together. And this is me just putting crazy, that's the other crazy thing, is illustrating other comic skaters characters is a way that I kind of am able to make sure that I'm letting people know about all the cool stuff that we're doing over here. And, it's any way I can help get the word out is, something I'm going to try to do. And like I said, it's like everybody keeps doing stuff. I mean, I saw Kenneth Roquefort's Viking Wolf piece on Twitter, which is just amazing, man. That was such a great piece. I know some losers were shitting on that, but if you put down Kenneth Roquefort, there's something broken inside of you art-wise. Like, I'm sorry, that stuff is amazing. I think Kenneth Roquefort's art is as close to unassailable as you're going to find. That's just me. What's up, Victor? How you doing? I love when comic book artists drawing traditionally. Yeah, absolutely, man. I love that stuff too, and I love, but I gotta say I love digital stuff as well. I mean, I love it all. But I appreciate the support. Yeah, I love watching Gabe doing his inking. Gabe's been doing some beautiful stuff for Beef Law. Looks cool. Hey, what's up, Jim Cox? Yeah, Roquefort's okay. Agreed. Yeah, he's all right. Golf club clap will do for him. Your credit to CG, Sean. Thank you, Oz, great sage. I appreciate that, man. Let's see here. How to Draw Comics by Dan Lawless. Yeah, love his work. Absolutely. Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well, Jim Cox. And yeah, to everybody. Absolutely. A few of Ethan's followers found issues of Cyberfrog while combing through back issues and begged him to bring it back. Wow, yeah. I mean, seriously, Cyberfrog is a really cool property. I just think that, the scope of the first issue. I was talking about Cyberfrog, I think it was on my last stream, and I was showing some of my favorite panels that Ethan drew in it, like the one where Cyberfrog is coming out of the water. He just rockets out of the water or towards the surface. Freaking love that panel. It's so great. Yeah, Happy New Year, Jim. Hail and Happy New Year, Jim Cox. Yeah, Happy New Year. And yeah, everybody's popping in here to say Happy New Year and to kind of celebrate this stuff, right? Like I think we've all been kind of sensing, with all of the cool projects that have been launching and that are now kind of starting to, finally, I know a lot of the supply chain stuff, has been kind of, bedeviling a few of us. I know, Rob Arnold was dealing with that stuff too. And I have to tell you, there's this kind of like momentum that we're bringing into 2022. And we've all kind of found each other and been creating and backing books. I mean, guys, look at the success that Nosfero has been having. It's like every time I get more artwork out there and update it, people are going and checking it out and backing the book. Oh, yes. And the link is in the description because this is a Comicsgate stream. So we do sell comics, as you know. But it's like, and the same thing goes with Lost Pages. And can anybody let me know, has Phil Diaz and has Zaid Comics hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube yet? I know he wanted to do that before the end of the new year, but that doesn't mean if he didn't, it doesn't mean we can't continue to keep getting him there. But yeah, I really hope he does, because that's a great channel, and Phil's been really putting in a ton of work into his books and projects, which is why it's fun to paint his characters and chat with him about pulp. And I know he even got Razor Fist's attention with some of the stuff he was saying about pulp, so that's always cool to see. Hey, what's up, Felix Haas? Good to see you, man. I love seeing the beer. I could have used that today. Let's see here. Who else have we got? Yeah. Oh wow. He was at 1000.02. Wow. Holy cow. That's excellent. Well, he's setting the pace. I gotta get. That's my next mission is to get there, get to 1,000 subs, and that's gonna mean just more work and more doing this stuff. I'm always attempting to fold space and time and make sure I can do everything possible to get the word out about Comicsgate and also grow my channel so that I can do more fun things like what I was able to do with Dan Plakel's Goblin Girl. And doing that closeout stream was still one of my favorite things I think that I've experienced in CG. Watching somebody during the course of a stream, break through a couple of goals, like hitting 13,000 and then hitting 14,000 on that stream was cool. And that's the same thing that that Michael Bancroft did for me. So let's do a little look at this here. Yeah, Happy New Year, Michael T. Good to see you, brother. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. So here we go, guys. So the piece. This is the piece, and I was reworking the skull head because I wasn't happy with the lean on it, because I really do think that, for me, I love the silhouette. Phil's been sending me some behind the scenes stuff of the silhouette pages, which is great because we can kind of share, insanity back and forth. But this is the thing, right? That, when I'm looking at Phil's characters, oh, thanks, Oz, the Great Sage. I appreciate it. Oz Great Sage has got my back on all this stuff, but it's like, look at the fun of, and the camera is not ever going to do canvas work because there's a little bit of dimensionality. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, the skull is going to be sick when I'm done with it. It's just a great nod to Phantom of the Opera and the Red Death. But I mean, by the time I'm done, there we go. By the time I'm done with this thing, it's going to be a really, really cool piece. And it's going to hopefully, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's hopefully going to be something that gets people into the Masquerade. People are into silhouette. I really want to see Dale Keown at some point. Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on the character. It's 3:30 a.m. It's brain dead o'clock here. Oh my God, what is the character, the giant purple character, the imaginary friend in Lost Pages 1? Somebody please let me know. All right. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for the compliment. Now I got to pronounce that. Is it G1? You're gonna have to put that out in phonetics for me. But I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's getting Crimstone. Thank you, Lord Ravener. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's wow, I quit. I don't know what that means. Let's see here. Crimstone gig. All right, there you go. Excellent. Gig is what we'll go with. Yeah, Crimstone looks really cool. I want to see Dale Keown do a Crimstone piece. You know what I mean? And I would love to see that. I may do one at some point because I like the Incredible Hulk, and I think I could do a cool, I love doing big creature beasts is sort of my thing for doing this work. So I think I might end up doing a piece, but the first person I thought of when I saw that character was Dale, and it's like, let me just do a quick, zoom up here so you guys can kind of see it a little bit more in context here. And I'll just sort of tip it so you guys can sort of see my Liquitex acrylics there. And then you see how we're putting this thing together. And kind of, there's a lot of Nosfero that is, the comic book that I'm doing that is very much, it's about the sexiness of the characters. It's operatic. It's got, make sure I don't have too much paint on my hands here. It's got a lot of different aspects to it. And so when I'm working in watercolor and gouache, and I know you guys have seen this one, but when I'm doing something like, a Shane Davis piece, that I'm doing for fun, all this stuff is just for fun, guys, to get the word out about what we're doing in Comicsgate. And it's not that Shane Davis or Yanzi are having any trouble getting the word out. They're doing an amazing job, but I always think that every little bit, helps. So when I was working on this page today, and getting, this page from Nosfero together. The fun thing about it is, what's going on with the character in the foreground that Nosfero is discovering. They've taken down one of his friends. This page you guys have seen so many times. I was lettering this page today, not on the page, but I was lettering it in Photoshop today. So, I could really get the kind of the vibe of this book. Renamed the character on that page today, or last night, I should say. This was a sketch I did of Phil's character. right here that I did on toned paper. And yeah, it's a Lord Crackhead 33. What's up, brother? Happy New Year. I know we've been New Yearing it for a little while there, but I hope you're having a great one. You've been a big part of my 2021. I'm looking forward to having more fun with you in 2022. And yeah, bow indeed. I would yell, but I would really project that bow, but I've got my wife is asleep upstairs and I want to stay married in 2022. One of my many goals. But yeah, I mean, when I was working on this, it was the same thing, just putting this stuff together. And so, as I'm working on these pages and we're figuring out, and we're designing like what this world is. Where's my other one? There's always going to be some time to salute my fellow CG creators here, right? And sort of say, hey, and I'm really was glad that Dan, yeah, bow. That's what it is, And it's been great. I appreciate that, Lord Crackhead 33. We're going to have a blast this year. It's going to be a great year. And of course, one of the ones I don't think I've shown today, but I have shown previously, of course, is the Andy Smith piece for First Man that I'm working on, which is Penumbra and Apollo. So a lot of you guys have seen this. I don't know where it was the last time I showed it because I've been really working on Nosfero, so I'm kind of trying to get this one. A lot of things done at the same time. But, look at what this to me is what it's like, to live the CG life as an artist and illustrator. Oh, thank you. Yeah, seriously, guys, love painting gorillas, apes, monkeys, whatever it is. I love painting that stuff in my work. And that was the one thing about Nosfero that I was kind of like, I need to paint something. So that's why the dog, Phantomas, really does kind of, if you look at him, he really does look, particularly I think I really captured it on the double page spread, really is for all intents. And oh, well, awesome. Thank you, Shaggy Bear. I appreciate it. He really is a King Kong dog. Like if I were to describe like what he's like, yes, and hail Shaggy Bear, he really is a King Kong dog, guys. Like he's got 4 teeth in the middle. He's not even got like the regular amount of teeth a dog should have, because I'm looking at Peter Jackson's King Kong and a Cane Corso and melding the two because he's sort of like this powerful hellhound. You know what I mean? And that's been the kind of the fun of doing all this stuff, right? We can do anything, guys. We can do anything with this work. And so if I can help, like Phil, I just love that Phil gets excited about the stuff I'm doing for the Masquerade, and hopefully it's winning his sales. I told Michael I'm going to be doing a Gilgamesh piece. I've been researching the history of Mesopotamia because Michael, we're going to have a conversation where we chat while I paint Gilgamesh. That's one of my big plans for 2022. And the thing about it is that Michael is so into the lore and the mythology and the history of these heroes. And thank you again, Shaggy Bear, by the way. Thank you again. He's so into the lore of these heroes, the lore of these characters, the history of heroism. We really care about heroes here. We really care about not just aspirational as a throwaway term, but characters and going through situations that elevate us and make us better, help us to aspire to be better human beings. Characters that fail, characters that have their humanity revealed to them through the trials. That is exactly what's going to happen for Nosfero and Laurel in this story. And he, in many ways, is he's a character who has been through his share of trials. You will see that he has had his hope and his faith in humanity pushed to the very brink, and he refuses to go down and become nihilistic. He refuses to quit, and that's so important. Let me see here. I've decided to create a world in which every cop in America quits after the show from trial. Yeah, seriously. Let's see here. Nice. Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, Shaggy. Yeah. And vigilantes rise to take their place. Yeah. It could could take place in Chaz. Yeah. Well, one of my first comics, my favorite comics of all time is a comic book called Grips, which is a vigilante comic. And then the first comic I did when I was 14 was about vigilantes. And I had 2 vigilante characters going through the city, battling the mob, that was really influenced by Grips. So that's kind of like, my bread and butter. I love that stuff. I love vigilante stories. They're always cool. I mean, my first comic book character that I got super into was the Punisher. So, this crowdfunding era is the first time I've been excited by comics in 20 years. You know what's scary is? When I used to think about 20 years, I used to think about the 80s. And now when I think about 20 years, I'm like, yeah, you're right. This is the first time I've been excited about new comics in 20 years. You're absolutely right. Wow. That's a trip. Yeah, Dan Lawless, that's a real trip thinking about that. Because when I think about all the comics I've been collecting between that, during that time, have been reprints, omnibus, artist editions. Wow, yeah, what a trip. Yeah, that's totally true. Yeah, Oz Great Sage is saying the same thing, and Skip Edwards, it's good to have you in here, man. I'm so glad to see you in here. Yeah, so do I, says Mighty Geek Studios. Yeah, it's one of those things to where comics are so, how do I word this? When people talk about comics being important to them, actually, I got to grab that because I have the, well, you know what? Actually, I take that back. I have the omnibus here. I was going to grab the original trade paperback I have because when I love a comic, I have everything about it. Do you guys see this cover by Mike Zeck, painted by Zimmelman, who is, nowadays, I go to check and see how these artists are doing. Zimmelman appears to be to the left of Mao at this point, but what are you going to do? I still thank him for a really great cover, painting job over Mike Zeck stuff. But guys, I had a poster of this Mike Zeck piece that was painted, airbrushed, on my wall as a kid. I freaking loved this. And I remember thinking as a kid, I was like, I'm never going to be able to paint ever. Like, how do people do this? Now I'm pretty sure I could do this. I don't think, the airbrush work on it, I still can't use an airbrush. I certainly could do this in Photoshop, but you have that issue. Yeah, the first comic I ever bought a back issue of at a comic shop was Punisher Limited Series #2. And to me, it is one of the coolest covers ever. And the cover to #1 is the best cover out of all of those. I'm sorry to say. And I say that it's so good. It is the quintessential, for me anyway, Punisher artwork. And the fact that Nosfero has almost like a skull-like squid symbol on his chest is 100% influenced by Mike Zeck's Punisher design. So it really, and Mobius too. Mobius did a version of Mike Zeck's Punisher. And let me see if I can find this here, guys. Hang on a sec. Yeah, here it is. So in the omnibus, they have that cover image with no type on it. And I'd never seen it with no type. So it was so great to see that. You could see the fire escape that's up there, the beautiful color. And then, of course, here's the interior pencils before they were inked. I believe it was by John Beatty, who did an outstanding job doing the inks for that. And then let's see here. Here are the various posters. I remember seeing this poster when I was a kid. Yeah, 80s were the last fun decade. And now it's going to be, we're bringing in the roaring 20s now, guys. The roaring Comicsgate 20s is what we need to start referring to it as. But the cover, God, I love seeing, and I have the artist edition of these books too. But the cover that got me into the comic shop, I know my stupid arthritis is making it not happen. It was this cover right here. I decided that every character I ever drew had to have an Uzi 9mm. It just was a thing that had to happen. And I just loved that drawing. I thought that is the coolest character ever. So yeah, there's a lot of my love of Mike Zeck in that stuff. The other love that's going to be in Nosfero, for those of you guys who are wondering, is my love of Gil Elvgren and pinups. And I was laughing the other day because I've never noticed this before, but Elvgren's signature, it kind of reminds me of how I signed my name, which is really funny because it took me forever to come up with, takes people forever, at least for me, it took me a while to come up with a signature. And mine was based off of my love of Dave Stevens and my love of Todd McFarlane and Walt Disney. And I was like, I want to come up with a cool signature. And I saw Gil Elvgren's and I was like, wow, he perfected that signature. But yeah, the coolest thing for those of you guys who don't know about the Masquerade is he wears this kind of like gold mask. That's the smiling face, the comedy theater face. And then the sword that he has, the rapier that he carries, on the hilt of it has the, has the tragedy face mask, and that's what makes it so cool. CG creators are like the mob during Prohibition. Yeah, absolutely. Look at them gams. Yeah. Gil Elvgren, man. So Gil Elvgren was the biggest influence, which I always wondered because if he was into George Petty or Vargas, but I think Gil Elvgren was the big influence on Dave Stevens' Women. You can really sort of see it when you flip through his stuff. So that's just another link back to Dave Stevens, who's one of my heroes, you know. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think that CG creators are like, you know, the underground scene of art where people could express themselves, people could experiment, people were free to do things. And yeah, I mean, it's like SJWs are the probies of their era. That's what they are. You know, they're they're there to break the scene down. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. You know, they're the thought police. They're the people who don't want people to do anything without their permission. And I don't know if they ever saw themselves as being that when they started down this road, but they're certainly that now, aren't they? Let's see here. Yeah, cool. All right, guys. Let's see what else I've got here. You have that issue? Yeah, of course. I love that. I love hearing that people have that issue. What I remember about that issue is how thick the individual book was. It had a rounded spine with like a little bit of like, I think it had like a white on the edge. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, Camel Knights, is Michael on Camel Knights? I mean, that's a hard case to I'm not trying to sell people against my show, but yeah, Camel Knights is awesome. But I appreciate you being here, Shaggy Bear. I really do. I love talking comics, and I love talking Comicsgate with you guys. You know, and it's like, yeah, it's really cool stuff. So let's do this. Actually, come to think of it, and I'm so glad all of you guys are here. But let's do this, guys. My other CG brothers are going live right now. I've been streaming for about 2 hours, and it's 4 a.m. almost here. So I've got to, I want to send you guys over there. So go over there and say, do me a solid. All of you guys pop over to Camel Knights and say that it's a Shanth and Jetty stream raid, and go over there and say it's an Enjeti raid. Coming over there. Sound good, guys? Because I love those guys, and say hi to Michael. Wish him a happy new year for me, and I appreciate those guys so much, guys. And thank you guys for being in here today. Happy New Year. Thank you for backing those Pharaoh. Shaggy Bear, I appreciate it so much. And yeah, we are kicking ass. It is only a matter of time before the underground makes its return. Only this time, no porn. I feel like there should be a question mark under that, but you never know. Skip Edwards, yeah, absolutely. No, don't give him a thumbs down. Give him a thumbs up and tell him that yeah, it's a raid from Shanth and Jetty Art over to his channel. And I love you guys. Thank you guys so much, CG. Hail to all my brothers. Happy New Year. Stay gold. You guys are awesome. And thank you for making Nosferatu everything it is. And go over there and give my brothers hell and tell them thank you for making all this stuff happen. I want to close out by saying thank you, Crack Pack, for an amazing year and for all of your incredible support. I will see you guys soon. I'm going to be streaming more. Happy New Year. God bless you. And take care of yourselves. All right? Peace, everybody.
Here's a little something for you busters. Yeah.
You're not even learning anything on the street.
Yeah.
You think I'm stupid, son?
Yeah.
See what I'm trying to say to you, boy?
Yeah.
Do you?
What's up with that?
Look at me, damn it!
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with
You
that?
smoke crack, don't you?
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack.
Look at me, boy!
Hey to
You
you,
smoke crack, don't you?
don't even smoke crack.
You know what that does to you? Huh? You smoke crack, don't you?
Smoke crack.
Go on and do it expeditiously.
What's up with that?
It kills your brain cells, son. It kills your brain cells.
Don't even smoke crack.
No guts, huh?